Howdy, everyone. Bit Defender, go away. Howdy, everyone. This is the Shadow of the Hawk. Shut it. And today I'm being joined by Creed Dredger, the Floridaman,
Yo.
as well as Kamazo, the Dragon Simp.
Hello, and I guess for Fallout, Deathclaw Simp, just to keep it topical.
Oh no.
So as our resident degenerate just admitted to, this is going to be a video about Fallout. In case you didn't read the title, predominantly it's going to be about a discussion that no one has ever had in the history of Fallout 4. Why every single faction in the game is shit. At least the main four. So, let's start off with our experience with each of these. I have done a Railroad playthrough, an Institute playthrough, a Minuteman playthrough, and I've never bothered with the Brotherhood of Steel because of how badly they were butchered from Fallout 3. I have played Far Harbor, and while I have not played Nuka World, I have poured over the wiki and I've seen so many playthroughs of that DLC that I've basically played through that DLC. So I know pretty much everything about the Raider factions there. Eeny, meeny, miny, Kaimazo. How much experience do you have with the Fallout factions, or at least Fallout 4s?
Well, to be honest, I have never finished the game because I always get too distracted, then forget about the game, and after a year I start again, and then I don't want to play further a playthrough that's been going on for a while and would start anew. So I've never gotten all the way to the end. However, I kinda now know what the different ideals are for the factions and kinda how it would end, depending on how you who you pick.
Understood. And then Creed.
I have done a railroad ending, institute ending, and I've got bored partway through the Minuteman ending, and I will never ever do a Brotherhood ending because fuck those guys.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't got any of the DLC, so the other two are a blank for me.
I gotcha. So it seems like the three of us have some strong feelings about the Brotherhood. So let's talk about the Brotherhood. Like I said, I've never really dealt with them too much aside from shooting them down. Pretty much it was for my first run. It was I thought power armor was way too overpowered, so I didn't want to play a faction that's whole thing was power armor. And then I played Fallout 3 shortly after that, and comparing Fallout 3's Brotherhood to Fallout 4's Brotherhood, I was just fucking disgusted personally how they took the Lion's Pride, these noble knights who are trying to clean up DC and make everything better for everyone, and turned them into we need to fuck the toasters. We need to track down the synths, and we need to kill the synths, and we need to fuck the toasters. And it really infuriated me. And yes, I'm aware that's how the West Coast is. I'm aware this is a return to how they were on the West Coast, but fuck you, this wasn't the West Coast Brotherhood. This was the East Coast Brotherhood. This was Lion's Pride, and fuck Maxon for killing Sarah Lyons. With that little bit of viscerality out of the way, your thoughts on the Brotherhood, boys and girls? And Austrians?
Um, well, they're kind of bastards. That's the most I can say about it. Even to the point, in general, like, I'm not a fan of this kind of fanaticism usually with factions like that. I know it's just such a typical archetype, however, I think it's kind of dumb at times, like the whole thing with Paladin Dance, because he turns out to be a synth, and yeah, then wanting to kill him despite his obvious loyalty to the Brotherhood. Yeah, it's kind of dumb in my opinion.
Oh, and let's also add on to that. Bethesda, they have no balls in regards to the Brotherhood storyline because you can convince Maxon not to kill Dance, and
Yeah, that too.
it's like, okay, so like I fucking hate this in RPGs where there is an option to make everyone happy. So, like there is with how zealotous they have made Elder Maxon, there is no fucking way that he would walk. He would let Dance walk. The only way that Dance gets to walk is because Bethesda seems to think that charisma is mind control. And
Kind of true. I do have to say I'm okay with the idea of having this everyone kind of happy kind of deal. However, it shouldn't be delegated to just like a charisma check,
Yeah.
but rather
Yeah.
like
Straight from
a more difficult and intense quest line that would take some effort to get to the satisfying result in the end.
Or
Yeah, from like a story perspective, it makes no sense. From a gameplay perspective, as someone who wants to collect all the weapons, collect all the characters, get all the followers, all in one
Yeah,
playthrough, it makes
that
sense
as
for
well.
me.
yeah.
But like, a story-wise, not so much that he would just like switch around after you say a few sweet words to him. Mm-mm.
Yeah, and it's also like one of those things where people might be complaining, well, you kind of can do that in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. The difference there is all these checks, they're not just charisma checks. You can, if you're really damn good with guns, you can convince someone to pay more money because you're worth that extra money. If you're a really good medical doctor, you can help a junkie get help because you're able to convince them that what they're doing to their body is destroying themselves. If you have, and then if you have specific perks, like if you have the Lady Killer perk, like for example, the spoilers for Fallout 3, when you encounter the antagonizer, if you treat her as a person using the Lady Killer perk, she realizes that she's been making a horrible, horrible mistake. It's not just, oh, I have maxed out charisma. This woman is going to, um, this woman's going to do what I tell her to do. It's you specialize your character to act a specific way. Fallout 4 does not have
Yeah,
specializations with the way the level up system is. You can get every single perk and level up your special stats very easily, which I think is, again, bullshit and goes into why I think it's a horrible RPG. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here
oh,
to talk about the
definitely.
factions.
But to be fair, yeah, that kind of stuff is just to make it a bit more mainstream, I guess.
Oh yeah, like it's the same reason why they made it a 4-choice game. But again, getting off topic. So the Brotherhood are fuck. So Kamozo agrees. Brotherhood are fucking dumb. Creed, what are your thoughts? Why do you dislike the Brotherhood?
Now, most of the same points I mostly gave. They're a fanatical group, very straight-minded, except for when the character actually passes the charisma check for some reason. They don't really give much thought besides robots bad, kill off robots, and that's it. It's just very plain, very bland. There's not much interesting things about it. It just kill robots, that's it. Kill super mutants, kill anything that's not human.
They basically just
It's boring.
their only character trait is like a xenophobic empire in
Yeah,
Stellaris.
it's boring,
Wait
it's
a minute.
That's about
straightforward.
it.
And it's not
Xenophobe.
Not
even
even
like
an
the good type of
one.
straightforward, it's the bad kill things type of
Wait a minute.
straightforward. It's just yeah.
Xenophobes in power armor in a
No.
battle barge who hate mutants and
No.
AI, and they have really big guns that they cannot deny.
God damn it.
Fanaticism. Holy fucking shit! Bethesda just ripped off Warhammer.
To be fair,
Oh boy.
Warhammer has at least Imperial sanctioned app humans.
Oh yeah, I
So
know.
they're already better than the Brotherhood of Steel morally, and that's kind of fucked when the Imperium of Man is better than you.
Yeah, exactly. Also, the Imperium is completely justified in hating AI, considering AI did nearly
Yeah.
exterminate humanity. The
Uh,
Brotherhood's issues with AI is AI might wipe out mankind, so we need to stop it. Okay, what evidence do you have AI will wipe out mankind? Science fiction
AI
movies. Whereas or like
True.
Do they even have science fiction movies?
yeah, they do.
Do any of them even know what science fiction movies are?
Yeah,
Like the
they do.
whole
There is a
no, but
there is a movie theater. They do have a concept of science fiction if you pay attention to some of the comics that they have in
mm,
the game.
oh, true, the comics. That's
Yeah.
true.
They'll probably be really shitty movies because their technology's bad. But yeah, but like it's when the Imperium of Man seems morally better than you, you've got some problems.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move away.
I mean, even the Robute Gilliman with suddenly making an alliance with the Eldar.
Okay, to be fair, that's just
That
because
wouldn't happen.
to be fair, that's just because he wants his dommy mistress to clap his cheeks. But let's
True, the
let's move from
Elder waifu.
let's move on from a faction that is just bland, boring, and fanatical to a faction that is just completely fucking moronic through its entire concept. Can the two of you guess which faction I'm talking about?
I mean, I already
I
know
feel
what
like
you're talking
I
about
think
because
I
we
think
did
you might be
talk
talking about
about
the
it earlier.
railroad.
Yeah, I'm talking about the railroad.
Yeah.
Fuck the railroad. Fuck the railroad with a cactus.
Kinky.
All right,
Their
Creed,
ideals make kind of
one sec.
sense.
Creed is going into timeout. All right. Wait, no, it makes me look like an authoritarian. I should probably not do that. Sorry, Creed. Uh,
Fair enough.
so yeah, I'll let Kaimozo start with this one. We'll go round robin. So it'll go Kaimozo, then Creed, then I'll give my opinion, and then Creed can start the next faction.
Well, for the railroad, you can at least say their ideals aren't as just plain stupid and evil. Well, but yeah, they still kind of go stupid about it.
Yeah, they're not stupidly
That's about
evil.
it.
They're just where the Brotherhood is lawfully stupid, but they're evil. The Railroad is lawfully good, but they're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, Creed, give your opinion, and then I'll give mine.
Yeah, like morally, they're trying to do the right thing. They really are, but they even have the discussion in game where would they draw the line? They're trying to like free people who, without even being able to know the difference, could pass off as human, and at that point, fair enough. But then there are those who like, what about the dumber robots? What about the computers? What about the toaster? Then they get that really stupid like free all machines type feel, and it's just like why?
And also with that,
Mm,
Why are they trying to go that far?
their plan is basically, all right, we're gonna take the robots out of the Institute and we're gonna throw them out into the wasteland. To
Yes,
be
it's
the
just
wasteland populated with raiders, super mutants, well, the ghouls might not bother them, but like the raiders, the super mutants, the death claws, the fanatic cultists, and a population of people who are terrified of synths. And and the argument might be, oh, they're getting mind wiped. What happened? Like, because of the railroads partially, and because of the Institute partially, people are fucking terrified of synths. And before you guys go, wait, how's it partly the railroad's fault? Gabriel, that synth guy who's over in the fucking the ship, who's like the. By the way,
oh
would you
yeah, yeah.
would you believe me if I told you there's a Raider faction who's a bunch of ex Minutemen?
Mm,
I well,
sounds like a possibility.
Well, see, the thing is,
hmm.
you would only know this if you decided to hack into a bunch of terminals and read about this stuff. They do not look. They're just normal Raiders. There's
I
nothing
mean,
unique
it
about them.
makes sense with like their backstory, where how they kind of
Yeah.
broke apart.
Well, but like my point is like unless you're actively like it's there's no real sign that like they don't use laser muskets, they don't have
Mm,
the Minutemen hats or the armor. They're just normal raiders. They're like the fucking Swedish ghouls. Like
mm.
but the difference there is those Swedish ghouls have unique voice lines. I think they're Swedish. I don't know. They're Scandinavian. Um, but yeah. So I
Back
like
and going back to
the railroad stuff. Yeah.
the sans, yeah, and it's like they've pretty much castrated the entire race. Because I absolutely doubt that the Institute would have given Sims the ability to reproduce on their own.
No, definitely not.
Do you agree? And now they've nuked the Institute, the only place capable of making more synths. Their numbers are going to slowly decline throughout the years till there are no more synths left.
Yeah, but also the thing is like going back with the
I
Gabriel example
mean,
is
yeah.
like when they introduce a synth into the Commonwealth, not only do they introduce a new mouth to feed, but they also introduce a person who's a complete blank slate. They could be good, they could be evil. In the case of Gabriel, you have a violent fucking sociopath on the loose. Or you have someone who will go into a community, they might do something bad, and people will think this was the Institute. All shits are evil because the Institute is killing us all. Or the Institute will try to find its stolen property, and you'll see what happened at the uh research point or university point or that settlement that got wiped out
Yeah.
because the Institute was trying to recover a synth. Like the Institute's existence, or not the Institute, the railroad's existence, excuse me, is enough to fuck up the Commonwealth because they're trying to save a few different people who who really only probably care about freedom because they were told, hey, freedom is a thing. Like yes, okay, I'm gonna get into like a weird spot of like morality and stuff, but actually, let's segue into the Institute. Why the fuck would you make your slave race have emotions?
Reasons.
Like,
we all know the reasons.
yes, I'm aware, Eve. They want sex bots, but like I get wanting to like. There is no end game with the synths. It is literally, and I'm sorry, Creed, you were supposed to start this conversation off. I'll let you start off the Minutemen.
No, it's fine.
But
This is a great way to start it.
I fucking like why make the synths? What is the plan? Oh, we want to become self-sufficient and do research. Okay, why? Because okay, mankind redefined. Why? We want to make a better mankind. Why? Because there is no talk about recolonizing the surface. Why the fuck would you make sentient synths? And if it's, well, we need a labor force, why make the Gen 4s? Make the Gen, like, you could have a few Gen 4s as a proof of concept, but just use the Gen 3s. There is nothing wrong with the Gen 3s. They're capable of being good combat units. I would imagine it would take minor modifications to make them butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. Why the fuck would you need it's like giving your toaster a soul. Or you know that episode of Rick and Morty where he makes the pass the butter
The butter
robot.
passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
why?
my god.
It's so fucking stupid.
Wasn't the thing with the Institute that they were kind of trying to make some not touched by the radiation kind of stuff to rebuild the world, kind of, however, with those numbers and not really being able to reproduce naturally or something?
If they
That wouldn't even work in the long run.
If they
either.
did, that's in some sort of terminal that you need to look for. Like there is no, aside from a sun that your character has never known, that you the player has never known. There's no reason to side with the Institute. The only reason to side with the Institute is to either be evil, which, like from the Institute perspective, you're not like you'd have to either subscribe to the Institute ideology, or you would have to go, oh yeah, this ideology is just evil, so I'm going to play these evil guys because it's fun. But they don't really do too much that's villainous. At least you can't do too much that's villainous. You're just supporting all the evil shit that's already happened. It's just the Institute is just such a wasted opportunity. Like, give them an actual fucking reason to be doing their evil shit. Like, why are they keeping the Commonwealth divided? Oh, because we want a place to do our experiments. What is your experiment? We want to create the perfect human. Why? To rebuild the wasteland. Okay, but first we need to wipe out the inferior humans. There. I just gave you a better fucking plotline for the Institute. Yes, they're the Enclave. Okay, fine. Yeah, they're technically the Enclave, but the Enclave doesn't hold the copyright to being evil Nazi fucks. Sorry, evil eugenics fucks. They're not. Actually, no. Both of these people actually have command and control economies. They're authoritarian. Most of them probably view themselves as blue-collar workers. Holy fuck, they're actually... The only reason they're not Nazis is they're not German. And I apologize to you, Kamozo. I know I'm kind of mocking some historical context, but...
It's alright.
Like, they fucking suck at making factions. I'm gonna let you go. I'm just gonna mute so you guys can talk about this.
I mean, do we really have to add anything?
Like, you went through most of it. You went over through most of it. Like, story-wise, the Institute is the controlling faction. They're the boogeyman. Most of the issues they have with the Commonwealth could have been completely and absolutely avoided if they only played it smarter. Story-wise, hey, how about instead of trying to be all scary and boogeyman-like and fracking having people fear the shit out of you, I don't try to make a good impression. Maybe
yeah, that's a big question mark. Why you wouldn't do that?
Yeah, how about, I don't know, send a few water filters or something up top, so like a sign of good faith. Maybe people won't be so scared of you. Maybe they won't kill your synths or stuff like that. Maybe rather than see you as like evil force trying to kill you, they'll see you the same way they see vault dwellers, as people just living underground, avoiding radiation and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing, the way they handle recovering their synths, like you said, at University Point, they butchered an entire settlement
Yeah, like just
For
straight
what?
up.
A synth? 2 synths?
Yeah, just like here's what you do.
Why?
Here's what you do.
It would be.
You teleport in a single scientist, maybe a few synths to like provide fire support, and it's like, hey, listen, in your settlement is a synth. It is technically our property. We have a method of identifying them as synths. Uses the tester on a synth. You here use it. You can use it. It's just a few button presses. You can use it. Walk through your settlement, scan the people, and just return our property to us. Like that. Like that's all you need to fucking do. Just have a conversation.
Hell, bring him some rations, some supplies,
Yeah.
make it a trade or
Like
something.
it is canonical. The Institute makes their own weapons. Just hey, University Point, can we have our synth back? No, this person is a member of the community. We'll give you laser rifles. Sold.
We'll give you food. We'll give you away. We'll give you medicine.
Yeah, exactly. It's so
I
stupid.
mean,
Hell,
have all of that.
we'll help you. Like hell,
Yeah.
we'll lend you. We will lend you a few things to repair, to build a few things or something like that.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
because you could still have the boogie kind of like what the plan was originally with Kaisar's Legion before they decided to switch from morally gray to mustache twirlingly evil. Originally, Kaisar's Legion was going to be like on the east side at least, not really a thing as long as you abided by Caesar's law. Like occasionally you might have some of them show up and be like, okay, we need some new conscripts or we need an extra tithing of food or like, but they wouldn't really affect your day-to-day life, but you would still live in fear of them because if you step out of line for any reason, whether it be doing drugs, whether it be being a homosexual, whether like whatever the reason is, and getting crucified, you could do the same thing with the Institute, where as long as you abide by the Institute's rules, maybe it's a limitation of technological use, maybe there are certain areas in the Commonwealth you're not allowed to go to, and as long as you obey those rules, you're not killed. But because they're never like they teleport, they come from here, they come from there. Most people only ever deal with the coursers. There's still that level of boogeyman factor. You could easily have them be intelligent and still be a boogeyman.
Mm.
It's like where this entire thing that they are the boogeyman, that they don't want to interact. It comes from what? Oh, everything upstairs is radiated. It's all been corrupted, mutated. So what? They've been corrupted and mutated too. The whole point of Fallout 4 is they needed an unradiated human sample to make the synths. That's why they go into the bunker. That's why they take Sean.
That's why they kill
That's why the whole
Laura.
story starts. Yeah, that's the whole story starts because they were also infected and radiated and whatever.
Mm.
So this whole idea that they're upstairs is unfixable and all that shit, it's just like
No. But
bullshit.
see, Creed, the difference is they were not as irradiated. Ergo, they are clearly superior humans.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, obviously. How did I forget? Of course.
Yeah, exactly. Using a
But yeah.
single facet of this, using a single facet of an entire population of people to justify why they are inferior. Where have I heard that one before?
Oh, yep. It's yes. They could have done the Institute so much better off.
They could have done all these factions better. Like, let's
Yeah,
segue
I
into
want
the
to
Minutemen.
say
The thing is,
yeah.
it's very they made it very clearly. Minutemen good, Railroad chaotic good, Institute Institute maybe, I don't know, lawful evil, Brotherhood of Steel
Also
lawful
evil,
evil,
kinda.
lawful neutral maybe, if you however you want to see it. Like, they give them very defined parameters.
Yeah.
Maybe give the Minutemen like, oh, we gotta collect taxes for this. Maybe give them a bit of
Yeah.
a gray side.
Yeah.
Maybe the railroad give them a bit of a gray side. The Institute make them a bit nicer,
Well, no,
like we explained.
So there is a great
Make
side.
it so that
There is a great side with the railroad. It's the fact that they're a bunch of fucking morons.
okay, yeah, true.
Like, so
sorry,
I
let's have a gray side. Give them more of a plus. Give them a
Like,
better
yeah,
plus.
like,
Also,
I
the
don't
gray
have-
side with the Minutemen is obviously that another settlement needs your help.
Oh, don't get me started. That was those words just to be
because it's like, yeah, like with the settlements, it's kind of like the reason why I always had issues with the Minutemen stuff is you had to completely build these settlements up from scratch. It doesn't feel like and yes, I'm aware the Commonwealth has issues. Personally, I would argue the DC Wasteland is in a much worse spot because sure, it's a hellscape, both are hellscapes. In the Commonwealth, you can grow food. DC is a fucking desert. So,
Yeah.
like, it's in the Commonwealth, there is like most of these settlements are just two people in a building. Why wouldn't these people like come
Farming.
like yeah, like why wouldn't they come together? Like sure, I get maybe like a community like Finch Farm being off on its own, but fucking uh Dunland Station. Why don't you have a bunch of people like gathered up? Why don't scavengers live with these settlement farms? Like what you could do is have Sanctuary be a place that's buildable. Have the castle be a place that's buildable. Have maybe one or two other places that is buildable. But everywhere else is a settlement that you go to and you do a quest for and you get, hey, maybe you want to help the Minutemen. And you can do other quests. And by doing these quests, the settlement like have you ever Kingdom Come Deliverance? There's like that
Yep.
quest line where you can
I loved
basically
it.
there's like a quest line where you can do stuff and it'll basically build up a village with pre-established buildings
Yeah,
and stuff.
Pribyslavitz.
I think there's like a mod for that in Fallout 4 where like they build themselves.
Yeah, sim settlements. What I'm saying though
Yeah.
is like it's a like so you show up to the settlement and let's take fucking so let's say you have like a settlement based out of a red rocket, right? What you start with is the red rocket building, and it's got a couple of beds, it's got a couple of places for food storage, it's got a farm outside, like a not a crazy good wall, it's like basically just a fence and some boxes and stuff with a single watchtower. You show up, you do a quest for them, and next time there's like a shack outside and a little bit of development, you do another quest for them, and they get bigger. And then once you unlock artillery, they get like an artillery pit at some point if you've developed enough Minutemen trust. And as you build the Minutemen, you get like a Minutemen barracks. You see more Minutemen patrolling the place with better equipment. And yes, that takes a little bit out of the design elements of the game. But unless you are a madman like myself or Ranger Dave, you're not going to build up those fucking settlements every single
No
one
one
of them.
does.
No, Ranger Dave does. This is kind of a show moment. Check out fucking Ranger Dave. Check out his Fallout 4 settlement builds. That is a man possessed. He is a man fucking possessed.
I mean, I usually at least do like the basics, which becomes just easy by using the supply line system. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the
you can
supply line
just
is like the best thing for it, but still.
Yeah, I'm glad they
Giving
put
them
it in.
each watchtowers with farm, with water, with turrets, with beds for enough
Right.
people, with a radio station, with stores. All that
yeah,
stuff is
that's
way
about
too
it.
much.
Like they never feel like, for example, take Diamond City. Diamond City is supposed to be a settlement that is 200 years old. The difference of 200 years is modern USA and 40 years before the Civil War. Like that is the level of difference. Take New York City in like 1812, compare it to modern day New York. That is the level of difference. And I can understand them not building skyscrapers and stuff. I can understand them
I mean,
having
to be fair, it's also a lot more hostile.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously,
Yeah,
But-
than the
and
Fallout.
it's
Yeah,
not like they can just like
exactly.
buy and like ship out materials for building and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like why does it look like it's a city that's only been around for 40 years? It's a bunch of shanty buildings that's like 2 stories at the most. Realistically
Because it's
speaking,
gotta have those Fallout vibes. Duh.
well no, but like well take Megaton. Look at Megaton. Megaton I think is even younger than Diamond City and it feels more like an actual town. It's got like the sense that it's been built on top of over like a generation or two. Diamond City feels like most people are still sleeping out fucking side. Like the communal sleeping space is outside. They've had 200 years.
Yeah.
There were only 2 fucking restaurants, technically 3 if you count the noodle stand, in a city that has been around for 300 years.
Yeah.
And
True.
it's not like this is like a random settlement out. Like this is the center of the Commonwealth. This is where their economy, their commerce,
The
all of it
great
is
green
supposed to
jewel
be.
of the Commonwealth.
Exactly. And it's like yes, I understand that it's supposed to be like a letdown, that it's supposed to show like society isn't fully recovered. But that is horrible. It's horribly done. And it ties into the Minutemen. The Minutemen don't feel Right. It's a bunch of random quests to get settlements that don't actually fucking matter, that you need to spend more, that you need to put so many resources in for a non-existent return. It doesn't feel like a living wasteland.
Oh,
like
true.
it feels like Minecraft is the best way to describe this fucking
I
place.
didn't want to say it, but yeah,
Like it
you're the only one that could build.
Yeah, like Fallout 3. Take Fallout 3. Sure, the settlements are smaller in scale. Sure, Rivet City is technically smaller than fucking Diamond City, but you have more places to explore. It feels like there is a wasteland community. It feels like there are people living there. It feels like there's an attempt at the very least to rebuild. Diamond City,
Mm.
Bunker Hill, Good Neighbor. Like there's no, like it doesn't feel like there's an attempt at rebuilding. And the Minutemen, because they're trying to defend the Commonwealth, their issue ties into that. But then also the Minutemen are just like, even if you want to go with them, there's not really too much substance to them. Like you'd think that the final stage of the Minutemen quest line would be retaking Quincy.
Mm.
If you want
That would
something
make sense.
If you want something similar, you want to know what you do? You pay $15 on the Creation Club for something that just spawns some Minutemen patrols over in Quincy. Doesn't even give it to you as a settlement.
Oh, wonderful.
It's a bit of a letdown, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when you start off with the Minutemen quest line where you're going against the Institute, when you reject the Institute, keep going with the Minutemen, they attack you. The Institute attacks you. Then you go to war with the Institute for what reason other than because, oh, the story can only have one faction remaining or some shit like that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, technically, at least the Minutemen and Railroad can coexist. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
True. The Minutemen always exist. I forgot.
You can't destroy the Minutemen no matter who you go with.
no, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. No,
Well,
you
yeah, if
can't
you can do
kill.
it manually.
You can't kill Preston Garvey. You can't. So even if you want to do the fucking Raider quest line, you will never be able to fucking kill Preston Garvey, which is bullshit. So, talking about that, let's jump into some of the other factions. Let's start with Nuka World.
Yay.
Nuka World is, in my opinion, a shitty attempt at trying to recreate the pit.
Hmm.
Neither of you played Fallout 3 that much, so you don't know what I'm talking about with the pit. So, funny story actually, to viewers. The original pitch for this idea, for this video was, hey, let's talk about the pit, the morality of the pit. And both of them go, we've played Fallout 3, but not that much of it. So,
Yeah.
okay, the general gist of the pit is basically you get on a train, you go really far away from the main part of the game, where you encounter a population of raiders and their slaves. The slaves obviously want to get rid of the raiders, and the raiders, they want to basically survive in the wasteland against these things called trogs, which are basically ghouls, but instead of radiation, it's a virus that turns them into them. And the moral choice is: do you side with a slaver who's basically a more benevolent Kaiser from Fallout New Vegas, or do you side with a dude who wants to lead a slave uprising, not out of a sense of personal morality, but out of a grudge, out of a vendetta? There is a level of morality there, and also some other stuff that I'm not going to spoil because I do recommend you to play it. Like, if you have Fallout 3,
I mean,
get the pit, fucking play it. It is my favorite experience in just Fallout in general.
at least from the baseline, it basically sounds the same. Train, far away,
Yeah.
slaves and raiders.
Yeah.
That's about the same, yeah.
But the difference,
Yeah.
but the difference between the two is with the Nuka World Raiders. No matter what you do for the Raiders, they will always insult you, belittle. Like, even if you've given them the
Oh, yeah.
entire fucking Commonwealth, they will fucking hate you no matter what. There's nothing you can do to make them like you, and there's nothing moral about them. The fucking disciples are a bunch of sociopathic killers. Whatever the animal lovers are, whatever the fucking
Pack.
the pack,
The
yeah.
furries.
The pack are just a bunch of violent savages who are slightly more redeemable because they have a bunch of good boys. Not the Triggermen; those are the fucking mafia guys who are just another kind of
the
raider.
operators.
The operators.
They're basically just mercenaries.
Yeah, like they're just
kinda.
mercenaries, but unlike real mercenaries where you could be like, hey guys, do you want to start working in the Commonwealth for a bit of money? You know, push the triggermen out of their racket, which that feels like something
Or
the
the
operators
gunners.
would do. The operators that you should have had a quest line where you replace the triggermen with the operators. You don't. They're all just a bunch of assholes telling daddy overboss or mommy overboss to give them shit. And what do you have? And so you decide to invade the Commonwealth. What are you gonna fucking invade? A bunch of shitty settlements with a couple of plants in a single building. Unless you build it all up yourself so you can have more fun invading it.
Yeah.
And even
That
if
is
you
just
dish out
crazy.
all the territories more or less equally, if one of the raider factions has one less settlement than the other two, do you know what they do? They openly revolt against you.
Yay.
Yeah. And you can't ever kill Preston Garvey, so if you ever interact with him, he'll be like, kill the raiders. And you can tell him, fuck off, and you will still get the quest to kill all the raiders.
Oh boy, it just feels like the freaking Dark Brotherhood quest line at the very end where you keep getting it and it never ends and you always have that quest active.
Yeah, it's like, it feels like a D&D, it feels like the fucking developers were like, okay, so people want to play an evil faction, but I think being a bad person is morally bad, so we're gonna make them feel guilty for being a bad person. Because being evil is bad, guys, and we're clearly the arbiters of moral justice, right, guys? Why the fuck do our fan base hate us so much? I don't understand it.
Mm, yeah.
Fortunately,
They really didn't manage to do any moral balance there
fortunately,
for any faction.
Fortunately, Far Harbor has great gray morality to it. I will describe the three different factions to you guys, and I want you to tell me who do you think I sided with. So you have a bunch of synths who are just trying to keep to themselves, occasionally help people as best they can, but more or less separate themselves and not really cause too many issues. You have a bunch of locals to the island who have been pushed to a series of docks by this fog that has basically woken up a bunch of beasties and monsters. And then you have a religious minority who have been persecuted everywhere they went until they reached this island, and they have every reason to believe that this is a holy land for them. Which faction do you think I sided with?
I have no idea.
I. My guess would be the religious one.
I was my best guess would be the second one, the ones that were pushed out by the fog.
Okay, so Kamozo, the religious minority in question is the Children of Adam.
Oh, I forgot. Fuck.
Yeah, that was a bit obvious.
Whose whole thing
I'm
is
too
just
dumb.
radiation is good. So
Forgot.
yeah, no, I sided with the Dockers because or the Dockmen, whatever they're called, because it's their island. They have every right to try to survive. The fucking Children of Adam actively want to exterminate them.
All right. Yeah. They.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah, with the
synths.
fog.
Well, I have no real issue with I have an issue with the synth leader because of the shit he did, but the synths themselves, my only issue with them is the fact that they think they get the right to pretend to be the divine thing that is humanity. There's my xenophobia showing. But in all seriousness, like
Classic.
I ended up siding with the Dockers because it's their fucking island. They have every right to fight for it and defend it, and honestly, they're the injured party in my personal opinion, by like everyone that attacked them.
True.
So that's a very one-sided opinion, honestly, because you guys haven't really played.
At least not that far into the
No, but it
DLC,
makes
just about
sense.
to the point
Like out
where
of
you
all those
meet like
options, that makes the
Yuma.
most sense.
Yeah.
For one of them, like either those or the Simp, because the Children of Adam, the religious
Yeah.
So
minority,
I
we
actually,
can already guess what they are and what they're into.
so when I nuked
Yeah.
their submarine, I actually felt bad. I fucking hated their leader, but the butchers, the bakers, the candlestick makers, I actually thought they were decent people.
Hmm. I mean, perhaps a bit diluted, but
Yeah. Like, I mean, they had a faith, they believed in it, and if they were led by someone who wasn't a complete violent sociopath, I would have tried not to nuke them. And yes, I'm aware there's a path that you could take not to nuke them, but by that point I'd wiped out the synths because fuck the toasters. So, no, I sound like the Brotherhood. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
don't put your dick in the toasters.
no. Yeah,
Or the Mechanicus.
yeah. So yeah, I guess we've had that discussion. Oh, wow, this has been a 40-minute discussion, boys and Austrians. Uh,
Yay!
So, I think we're going to leave it there. If you liked the video, leave it a like. Join the conversation in the comments down below. If you fucking hate my voice, what are you doing in my channel? If you hate
Or
Kaimozo,
my German accent.
yeah, if you hate Kaimozo, let me know where you live so I can give you a polite discussion on why you're wrong. And if you hate Creed, well, he's a Florida man. That's totally justified. Any last words from
Yeah,
you two?
fair enough.
I didn't expect you to defend me considering everything.
Look, man, at the end of the day, you have a hard enough issue as it is. You have a disability being an Austrian. I gotta help people with disabilities, but him being a Florida man, that is a choice.
You can take the man out of Florida, but you can't take the Florida out of the man.
I was born in Jacksonville. I'm fully aware of this. Anyway, see you, boys and girls. Have a good day. Bye.